take an inventory. Take an inventory of your life. You need to take an inventory, because if you don't know what you have, if you don't know what you have access to, you will not be able to know what to use and how to use it. For example, it's just like saying you are a housewife and you have just $100, and you know that you need to buy 10 things, or or 20 different things. So if you know that if you need to buy 20 different things, and each one of them is costing nothing less than $10, and you only have $100, you have 20 things you need to buy, but you only have $100, and each one of those things is costing $10. So even if you are going to buy 10 things, that your money is already over. So what do you do when you have $100 and you need to buy 10 products or 10 things? 20 things that cost $10 each. You are already over engaged. You're already having expenses potentially to the tune of $200, although you are having only $100, and your expenses is already minimum of $200 or above. So now, where are we? Where we are is that if you are a good steward, and if you're a good housewife, and you know how to manage money, you will know that there is no problem in you having a need for $200 while you only have $100. It's not a crisis. So some people would think it's a crisis, and some people would think that it's a reason for them to start a quarrel, a conflict in the family, and begin to fight. Wow, I don't have $200. I need $200. I only have $100, and I have 20 subjects, 20 items to take care of. So what do I do from here and all that? But to a wise wife, and to a wise manager, or to a wise accountant, or to a wise leader, or to a wise steward, you just know that the only thing you need to do is easy. It's all easy, and the thing you need to do is just to prioritize. You only need to prioritize. You only need to prioritize. And what you need to do is that, okay, if I only have $100, that's the reality on the ground, and I need to buy these 20 subjects. 20 items. Which one of these items are most urgent? Which ones of these items are most urgent? So you pick the ones that are absolutely absolutely necessary. And when you pick the one that are absolutely necessary, you prioritize them. You don't just pick the 10 and spend all the money on the 10, but you prioritize and even the top 10 according to their order of importance and according to their order of urgency. So you know that if every one of them are important, but this one is more urgent than that other one. Every one of them are important, but this one is more important than the other one. So you put those ones as your top on the list. So that's the way we're supposed to live our lives. That's exactly. So these items I'm talking about and these $100 I'm talking about is your life. So when you have your own scale of preference, and it helps you to make an informed decision. So it helps you to make an informed decision. But we all know what is a scale of reference when it comes to mathematics or economics, when it comes to home chores, buying in shops or things like that. But what about when it comes to industry but when it comes to life, we don't apply principles. We don't apply this principle to our lives. Some of the people who teach this same principle about scale of preference, if you see their lives, they don't even apply that same law in their lives. And those people who are also teaching other people about priority, how to prioritize things according to their priority and urgency, importance, they don't apply that when it comes to life. We apply that in the business, we apply that in our finances, economy, but we don't apply it when it comes to our lives. Whereas it's the same thing when it comes to life. We have a limited resource. Just let's face it. You have a limited resource when it comes to life. Just like you have your limited resource when it comes to money is that $100, and you have more things to do. You have $100. That's your limited resource that you want to use to buy 20 items, and these 20 items each cost $10 each. And so you have to have a list of preference, a preference list for yourself. So the same thing we have to do when it comes to life. In that same life, you need that same scale of preference. The same scale of preference that you use in terms of your money and economy, the same scale that you will need when it comes to life. Because life also is offered you only a limited resource, and your limited resource is your life. And let's just say we don't just take a figure from an abstract figure from the air. Let's take the figure that we all are familiar with. And the figure that we are familiar with, how long it should be in line with how long we are probably going to live. And how long we are going to live, we are going to live, but we live 70 years. So with your limited resource here is your life. And your life is, let's take it in figures. Your life is 70 years. That's just the reality and the fact of life. That we only have in the average 70 years to deal with. We only have in the average 70 years to live. So if you only have 70 years, you want to do something about that 70 years. You don't just want to throw it up and down. You don't just want to, spend maybe 50 of those years doing some mundane things in your life. Whereas you have a whole list of priorities. You have a whole list of tasks ahead of you. You have a list of items that you want to do in your lifetime. Can you imagine what kind of catastrophe that would be if you don't have a list at all? I mean, you are living your life and you don't have a preference list. Can you imagine? You don't have a scale of preference. It's catastrophic. That is how many of us have been using our lives, catastrophically. And it's one thing for you to have a scale of preference, but how will you have a scale of preference if you don't even have a list in the first place? If you don't have a list of your items, of your duties, of your assignments, of things that you wish to do in your life. So to even start, out, when you have $100, you must have a list of what you even want to, what you even need, what you want to use that $100 to buy. So if you don't have a list, like in the case of the $100, at least you have a list of 20 items. So let it even be a list that is too big, let it be a list that is too much, but at least you have a list. So before you begin to do a scale of preference and all that, analysis, all those things, at least you must have a list, a starting point. The same thing pertains to our lives. So when it comes to life, we also know, just like we know that we have that $100, that $100 is the resource we have, is the potential that we have, is the resource that we have. So also the resource that we have when it comes to life is 70 years. It is limited. We all have 70 years in the average. So if you have 70 years and you have $100 when it comes to the shopping, okay, as the housewife shopping, you know you have $100, but you also know you have a list of the things that must be done. You have a list of what you need to buy. So now the same thing when it comes to life. You have 70 years, but you must have a list of your duty, of your you have a list. You must have a list of what you want to do in life. You must have a list of, your calling, of your gifts, of your potentials, of your, task that you want to. You must find out, first of all, what are the things that your life is meant for. That is the beginning. So that is why it is so important. The messages that I did the other day, I did a few messages, a few weeks of messages that time. And if you missed those and you didn't see them, I will encourage you to go and get them. And those teachings are on calling and calling and purpose. So if you have not discovered your purpose, your purpose, and it's more than that. It's more than just on purpose. That message is on purpose, calling, giftings, potential, and everything. You must have that list of the potentials, of the giftings, of the resources, and of the potential that God has put in you. so that you have a whole list of what you want to use 70 years to do. So the 70 years must be spent on something. So when you now find out that, okay, I know how to sing, I know how to dance, I know how to do invention, I know how to write, I know how to raise people, I know how to build teams, I know how to make some product, and you have all the list of the things that you know how to do, then you have to ask yourself, okay, what is my priority? What is my first objective? What is my, kingdom priority, my kingdom calling, my kingdom purpose, first of all? So you have to put those things first and prioritize, and then you begin to have your scale of preference out of all the potential. But you must have the list of your potential first, and you must have the list of what you want to do in your life. If you don't have that kind of list if you don't have your list of priorities, and you don't have a list of what to do, your list of of duties, of your activities, of what you're supposed to do in life, what will happen to you? Triviality will take over. Triviality will take over, and frivolity will take over. You will just begin to trivialize life without even noticing it, because it's just vanity of life. The vanity of life will take over. And you just discover that you are moving with emotion. You just discover that you are just being carried by the tide of life, and and the tide of life is called survival. The name of the deception of life, survival, trying to make a living. So if you don't start with a purpose, if you don't start by knowing that you are sent here for a purpose, if you don't start by knowing and giving yourself accountability that you are made and sent to this world on a mission and on an assignment, if you don't come to that conclusion immediately and sit down and make an inventory of yourself, and get to know what are the things that you are called to do, and what are the things you could do, what are the potential and the resources you have for that, and then if you don't prioritize that and say, okay, these are the things that I want to achieve in my life, these are the goals that I want to achieve, if you don't have that to start with, you will be carried away by the wind. You'll be carried away by the wind. Somebody was just, if you don't have the book, this is the book that will help you do that. Who am I? Why am I here? Who am I? Why am I here? This book will really help you to escape the trap, the rat race. The deception of life is called the rat race. The deception of life is the rat race. So if you are not careful, you will be caught up with the rat race of life. And the rat race is that you will be running, chasing after shadows. You will be running, chasing after mirage. And that is why an inventory of your life is necessary. And your starting point to do an inventory of your life, an effective inventory, is to start by what you have in the first place. And what you have is only 70 years. So now we have to move on to scale of preference. But before we get to the scale of preference, let's all discover and come to an agreement about our resources. Our resource, like that $100 out there, that is the resource we have here, is 70 years. Now, what the inventory I want us to do today is to do an inventory of how we will probably live that 70 years of life. So my task today is to open your eyes and let you know how you will probably, if you are not careful, if you don't follow, if you don't, take your time to implement this teaching today that I'm going to give today, your life will probably be like the life of most people that you see around you. Most people that fail, most people that regret when they are about to die, most people that cry on their deathbed, most people that are, weeping, that when they don't know where their their life has gone to. If you don't want your life to end like that, and I'm very sorry, but the life of many of us have ended. Many of our parents are just like that. Many of our parents died either unexpectedly. Many of our parents died when they, or maybe they didn't die unexpectedly, but maybe they died at ripe age, but there is nothing to show for it apart from their children. Or they died, bankrupt, or they died empty-handed. There is a man that died that I know exactly how I want to die. And I like the way Oral Roberts died. The way Oral Roberts died. When Oral Roberts was sick, he was already 91 years old or something, 90-something years old. And, they took him, he had pneumonia or something, couldn't breathe very well. So they took him to the hospital. And he was just shouting in the car, I am going home. God has showed me, I'm going for my reward. I am going home. So I was supposed to be treating him in the hospital. And he went there in the hospital. They said he should lie down. He said, I cannot lie down. I want to go and tell all the other patients that are lying here, you guys are moral robbers. I've worked all my life, 80 years, serving the Lord. Since I was a teen, I built the university. I did this and did that. I used my life up. I used everything for God. And now I'm waiting to go home. I don't want to go back to my house. I want to go to heaven. You will see, I will die here. I'm not going back to my house. I'm going home. The angels are all around me. I'm going for my reward. They are waiting for me to reward me. That is the way all of us should die. We should all be expecting death with excitement. We should all be excited about death. We should all be rejoicing when our time of death has arrived. It doesn't matter what age you are about to die. It doesn't matter what age that death or that time of death will come. But you should live your life in such a way that if you need to die now, for example, I am expecting death every day. I'm excited about death. Death is going to be the greatest news for me, because it is a news that is going to help me, that give me entrance into my gift, into my reward, into my, into the reward of my work, into the fruit of my labor. So death is a wonderful opportunity for me to be able to go and receive everything I've lived for, because everything I'm doing today is all about heaven. It's all about going up there to get my reward. That's why I'm working. That's why I'm laboring. That's why I'm loving people. That's why I'm sowing into you. That's why I'm investing into you. That's why I am adding value to myself. That's why I'm studying. That's why I'm improving myself. That's why I'm pushing myself. That is why I'm blessing people. That's why I'm loving people. That's why I'm forgiving people, because I want to die. I want to be able to be ready when death comes. I want to be prepared for that death, and I want to receive that death in an amazing atmosphere of joy and excitement. I want to be dancing, doing party, expecting my death. I want the death to come, and I want everybody to know that yes, I'm ready to go right now. Why? Because I must have lived every day of my life in such a way that I maximize everything. I use every day that God has given unto me for the purpose for which He has given it. I want to convert every single minute, every single hour, every single time He has given us, He has given me. I want to use it for the purpose for which He has given me. I don't want to bankrupt it. I don't want to use it, because if God has given you, let's say your husband has given you that $100, and he gave you a list of what to do with the $100, and you just took it and you didn't even look at the list and you just start using it anyhow. That's exactly how most of us live our lives. We take the resource that God has given unto us, which is 70 years of life, and what do we do with it? We just go and use it left and right, up and down, and just trivialize our lives. Most of us just trivialize life. Most of us just live in frivolity every day. We don't even look at the list of things we are supposed to do. We don't do an inventory of ourselves. We don't discover our gifts. We don't discover our callings. And that's why it took 2 weeks to teach on how to discover who you are, your gift and everything, so that you'll be living purposefully, so that you'll be living according to design, so that you'll be living by and according to what you are created to live for, so that your life will be purposeful. You are not just going up and down, dancing up and down, and just chasing shadow and mirage. But the deception of life, the great deception of life, is that the whole world system wants you to trivialize the resource that God has given unto you. The whole world is set up in such a way that you will not even think that you have an agenda, that you will not even think there is a purpose for you to be here. You will not even think that there is a list that you are supposed to carry out. You will not even consider, you will not even remember. So Satan is set up the whole world system in such a way that you are constantly driven. So Satan has set up the world system in such a way that you'll be constantly pushed, driven, not to even be able to stop, to even think, talk less of thinking. Even church and religion is being set up in such a way that it's part of the world system that is pushing you into activity, one activity to the other, and pushing you up and down, be busy in the church, busy, come to church program, come to business. Everybody is pushing you, everybody is manipulating you so that you will not even stop to even be able to do an inventory of your life, so that you will not even be able to do any analysis of your life, so that you will not even be able to even find out that you are called for a purpose, so that you will not even find out, that you have a mission here, that there is an assignment for you here. Everything is set up for the rat race. Everything is set up for the rat race, and most people are only involved in rat races. The rat race of job, the rat race of salary, the rat race of getting employment, the rat race of having children, the rat race of getting married, the rat race of getting a status or a standing in the society. Just deception. Everything is about deception of life, and unfortunately, that is what we're all busy doing. We are all busy deceiving ourselves. We are all busy spending the life that God has given us, or the trust that God has entrusted into our hands, the resources that He has given us. We're just busy spending them up and down, left and right. So the first thing you need to start with is for you to say, you must find out your destiny, your purpose. What did God send me here to do? What is His assignment for me? What is His task for my life? What is His mission? What did He create me for? What are the resources He had given to me, in the sense that what are the gifts? What are the talents? What are the things I know to do? Because the gifts and the talents are not your calling. The gifts and the talents are supposed to facilitate your calling. They are the things, they are the potential that you are going to, they are the resources, they are the gifts that that are going to facilitate your calling. So you are just supposed to use those gifts and talents in your platform, in your promised land, to be able to carry out the will and the purpose of the kingdom for you in that place. So this whole world is full of deception. This whole world is full of deception, and I want to open and unveil that deception to you people today. And that's why I want us to look at our resources. I want us to take an inventory of our life. So our resource is 70 years of life. So let's say we have 70 years to live. That is the resource that God has given to every one of us. We have 70 years of life. That is time right there. 70 years is talking about time, all right? 70 years of life. For that 70 years, God is expecting you to carry out some certain assignment on the earth. God sent you here to carry out those particular assignments within that frame of 70 years. So it is now your duty. The onus is on you to stop and find out and make a list and get all that right. What are the things that God wants you to do for those 70 years? You must be able to carry them out. So you must be able to, the onus is on you to set yourself free from this rat race. The onus is on you is to set yourself free from the deception of salary and job and employment. The onus is on you to set yourself free from the pressures of family and relatives and society at large. And the onus is on you to set yourself free from the pressure of religion, church, pastors, leaders, and religious people that just want to cage you and privatize you and monopolize you and control you and subdue your life, so that you will not fulfill your own purpose, your own calling. So it is your own responsibility. You will not be able to go to heaven and say, well, I didn't make it because, some pastor confused me or some church. They will be judged too, but, you answer for your own life. And the same thing, you will not say, oh, television, I was watching television, there was deception coming from television that, it's all about money. Well, you take responsibility for your life. So I don't know how old you are right now. I don't know how old you are, but let's start from the end, from the finality. So we all have, if you have your pen or you need your pen right now, you might want to begin to write some things down. Let's say we all have 70 years to live. That is our resource that we have. All right? Every one of us, we have the potential, the resource, the wealth of 70 years. The resource of 70 years to live. Just like that woman asked $100 to use to buy, 20 items that each cost $10, right? And she has to prioritize scale of preference and all that. She has to use her own wisdom, but she has to sit down first and find out what she has and do analysis and do, of what she has and, plan it out. The same thing with us and you. We have 70 years. Some people will be short, some people will be shorter than that, some people will be longer than that, but let's take 70 years in the average. That's what David said, and that's what the Bible says, right? Moses said that as well. 70 years, maximum 80, but let's take 70. Now, what does that mean? The reason why we never consider doing an inventory of our lives is that we didn't know, we don't even know that we could do an inventory of our lives. We just live, No, you have a limited resource. And I'm going to help you to understand what does that mean, 70 years of your life. What does that mean? And how do you analyze that? Okay, write this thing down now. Write it down now. 70 years of your life means, write down, 25,555 days. Only 25,000 days you have in your life. Only 25,000 days. Only 25,000 days. You only have 25,000 days. So if you are 35 years old, you tell me what has happened. You tell me what that means. You tell me what has happened. If you are 35 years old and you are supposed to live just 70 years old, and you have some assignment, some task, from mission, from God, some calling, some goals from heaven for you to accomplish on earth, and you are already 35 years old and above, you are already 35 years old and above, you are already 35 years old and above, you are in trouble. Half is gone. Somebody is writing, shine! Catastrophe. Yes, catastrophe. Half is gone. Half is gone. Half is gone. If you are 35, some of you, tragedy. Somebody is a tragedy, oh, pastor. I don't even want to talk about you being 40 or 50 or anything above that. I don't even want to talk about that. I don't even want to talk about that. And you still think you have all your life? You still think you have all your life ahead of you? You want to tell me you have all your life ahead of you? Do you still want to tell me you have all your life ahead of you? Do you want to tell me you have all your life ahead of you? Somebody said, Pastor, please don't laugh. This is too serious. But I'm laughing because either I cry or I laugh. And I think I better laugh than crying here. I better laugh than cry. But I told you people to call your friends, that if you care for anybody, call them. You don't want anybody to miss this. And if you have not shared the link yet, if you have not shared this link yet, please go ahead and share the link fast. Go ahead and share the link fast. Jefferson Uzoma said, oh my God, Pastor Sunday Adelaja, this message came to me last month. Oh, exactly. I have 14,000 days left after my analysis in that retreat. My God. Well, let me tell you, you don't have that 14,000, and I will help you to discover that you don't have that 14,000. You will see now. You will see now. You will see. You will see. You will see. You will see. Mm-hmm. You will see now. Well, I'm going to help you guys through. I'm going to help you. This is a serious matter. I told you in the beginning. Go call everybody you know. Somebody is saying this is a serious matter. Yeah, it is. So, now. So, let's continue. So, if you are 35 years old, my God. That is scary. That is scary. God help us. 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 So if you are 35 years old and above, this is what has happened to you. You see this? That this is your life. This is your full life. This is your full life right here. This is your full life here. You see what has happened? If you are 35 years old and above, look at it. Two parts. One part is gone. You are only left with the other part. This is totally gone. It's dropped. One part is gone. You're only left with one part. You now have you now realized why nobody should waste your time? Yeah, you now realize why I'm spending so much time on this topic? Can you now realize why I am dwelling, and keep on talking on this subject? Do you now see why the biggest thing you have to fight to protect in your life is your time? Do you now see why you should run every day? Do you now see why you should not tolerate anybody to waste your time, including your church, including your pastor, including your religiosity? Don't let anybody waste your life and destiny. Your life, your pastor, and everybody, your church should be pushing you to your destiny. Not to church program, or not to church denomination program, but to your destiny. So if we are supposed to live 70 years old, listen closely now. 70 years equals 25,000 days, 25,550 days. somebody can write that. 70 years equals 25,550 days. Now, if you are 35, divide that into 2. 25,550 days into 2. If you are 35 years old, divide it, please. So now you don't have 25,000 anymore. Now you are left only with 12,775 days. You are no more having that 25,000. Instead of 25,000, you are left with 12,700. That's if you are 35, so you are still lucky if you are 35. But you have already lost half. And you are only left with 12,775 days left. You are gone. Your life is gone. Personally, I think that anybody that is serious with life should target to finish his purpose and be ready to die by 40. You should live your life in such a way, in such a condensed way, that by 40 you are already ready to die. That is the way I've lived my life. At 40, I'm ready. I was ready to die. Since 40, I've been ready to die. Every other thing that comes after 40 is a bonus. But from 50, if you are even 50 already, you should know that every day should be maximized. You should run and just, I don't know, if you are 50 already, you are just living by grace and by chance. Because the statistics have shown us that from 50 years old, the death rate of any human, the possibility of death, your possibility of death, increases 4 times. Between the time you are 30 and the time you are 50, your probability of death increases 4 times. There are 4 times more chances of you dying now if you are 50. 4 times possibility of you die than when you are 30. Let's continue. Now, maybe you are not 35. I want you to get your years. Let's say you are 40, or you are 45, or you are 50. How many days do you have left? That one now is your own problem. How many days do you have left? How many days do you have left? Some people are still having 20,000 days. Some people are still having 15,000 days. Some people are still having 12,000 days. But some of you don't even have that anymore. If you are 50, that is why the possibility of death is even increases. Your own risk is double. Because apart from the fact that you now have it, if you are 50, you only have how many days left? If you are 50 years old, you are from 25,000, 50 years old is how many days? Let me see. 50 years is yeah. I'm trying to calculate 50 years. Anyway, so you know your age. Whatever your age is, you calculate it. How many years are you left to live? How many years was it left for you? You know, you are gone. You are just living on reserve right now. Do you remember when you are driving a car? If you can drive a car, if you drive a car, there is a time when your oil bank or your oil bank gets to the red. Now, if you are 50 years old, like me, I'm 50. I'm going to be 50 next year. And we are only left with 7,300 days left. Only 7,300 days left. Only 7,000. You're already in the red. So your gasoline indicator is already dropped down to red. So you have already used up everything. You are already you are gone. You are gone. You are gone. You are almost gone. So if you are the one that is waiting for the last days for you to get old before you begin to do anything, you are lost. You are lost for it. You are just lost. Now, I want you to take it easy now. Take it easy and keep quiet right now. And keep on writing if you are writing. If you are 70 years old in totality is 25,550 days. Now, let's put that in perspective. Let's put that in perspective. In hours. In hours, that means you have only 613,000 hours to live. 600 and half of that, 613 hours, if you divide that by 2, if you are 35, 613 hours to live. 613,200 divided by 2 is 613,000. 613,000 divided by 2, that is hours. 613,000, that is 300 and something. So you only have 300 and something hours left to live if you are 35. But if you are 50, you are in crisis. So when the whole hours, the hour that we think is nothing, 24 hours in a day, and then you are living and you think hour is nothing, well, left and right. We spoke about hour this morning. If you are spending hour left and right this morning, well, you don't even, those are just the hours, all the hours you have to live in 70 years. Now, let them continue. Keep on. Let's continue now. Let's now face reality. Out of 70 years that you have and that I have, out of the 70 years that we have, really, we only control maybe maximum 50 years of it. Because your life from birth to 20 years is normally under the control of somebody else. From birth to 15, 16, you are under the control of your, maybe let's say from birth to 12, you are under the control of your parents or your guardians. Then from 12 to 20, you are either under the control of your school authority or your teachers or your guardians or your peers or your friends or other people who are influencing your life. So we cannot really say you are totally independent. We cannot really say you are totally free to really decide and plan out your life and live your life the way you want it, the way God wants it, before you are 20. It's only on very rare occasion. Most people between birth and death, and 20, they cannot do too much. So the idea is, out of the 70 that you have, out of the 70 years that you have, we have to remove 20 years. We have to remove 20 years. If we remove 20 years, then you are only left with 50 years left. So, I told you initially that you have 25,000 days. That's why the brother that says that he has 14,000 days left, I'm sorry. Because if you have 25,000 days altogether out of 70, you have to remove like 20. Because it's better for you to begin to count. Because 20 does not necessarily mean age 1 to 20. It could be age 1 to 10. You don't decide anything. And also age, the last 10 years of your life, you're already retired. So 20 years in the average, they fall away. The first 10 years and the last 10 years might also not be active. But most likely the first 20 years will not be active. So your active life, let's look at our active life. Your active life, therefore, is only 50 years. You only have 50 active years to live. Because can you remember what you have done, what you did in your first 10 years? Your first 10 years, most likely were not active. They were not planned by you. You did not plan your first 10 years. Most of us did not even plan our first 20 years. Most of us did not plan our first 20 years. So we have to remove 20 years. We can plan the next one. If you want to be objective with yourself, you've got to remove the first 20 years. You've got to remove the first 20 years. So you only have really 50 active life to live. And after that 50 active life, some of you, you're already in your 30s. Some of you are already in your 40s. Some of you are already in your 50s. You are already messed up almost. So you need to run like crazy. You need to hurry like no man's business. You really need to begin to get yourself engaged, engaging every minute, every hour of your day like you are a man getting ready to die. And so let's say we take only 50 active years that we all have. What does that translate to? 50 active years translates to 18,000 days. So it's no more 25,000 days. It's 18,250 days. 18,250 days. If you remove the 20 years that were not actively under your control, you are only left with 18,250 days. 18,250 days. In hours, that means, 438,000 hours. 438,000 hours. 438,000 hours. You are supposed to have originally 613,000 hours, 200 hours. But now you are left with 438 hours. Tina Stevens says, sorry, you are cutting us into pieces. So, yes, that's comparative analysis. Comparative analysis. We need to do it. So you are only left with 18,250 days and 438,000 hours. Now, the brutal truth is coming now. Listen closely. The brutal truth is here now. Out of that 50 years that you have, active years, out of that 50 active years that you have, this is in case you even live to be 70. This is only in case you live to be 70 years old. Some of us will not even live to be 70 in the first place. So that means that you even need to even run faster, much more faster. Now listen to this. Out of this thing that you have, 6,083 days, 6,083 days, you are now having left only 18,000 days. But if you are older than 20 years old, that is much worse for you because that is much more less. But let's just say we take the general thing. So out of whatever you have left, you only have 6,000. You have 6,083 days. You spend it on sleep. 6,083 days goes to sleep. Out of whatever you have left, you have 6,863 days. You will spend it on sleeping in your lifetime. And 6,083 days that goes to sleep equals to 146,000 hours. 146,000 hours. So you are going to spend 146,000 hours sleeping. And that is like natural, you cannot do without it. You could reduce that and maximize it and convert it into some product or some value, that will be wise for you to do that. But not many people have the strength to do that. And what does that mean? If you are going to sleep 6,083 days of your life, and that means you have 16 years of your active life you are going to spend it on sleeping. You are going to be sleeping 16 years of your life is going to be spent on sleeping. 16 years of your life is going to be spent sleeping. Years of your life is going to be spent sleeping. So whatever your age is right now, remove another 16 years. Maybe not. It might not be 16 years anymore, but you calculate how many. If you calculate sleep 8 hours a day, you calculate how many more years you need to sleep. So you don't have as much. That brother that says that he has 14,000 hours left, you have to remove 8 hours of sleep from that, and then calculate it to whatever you are right now to when you are 70 years old. So that is how many years you are going to spend in sleep. So this 16 hours might not be for everybody. 16 years of sleep might not be for everybody. This 16 hours of sleep might be for, depending on your age. So you calculate how many hours and how much time is going to be spent on sleeping. Napoleon Emasuen said, I need this message. Please, someone help me send it to my WhatsApp. What do you mean send it to your WhatsApp? You can copy it. Share the message to your own timeline yourself. You don't need anybody to do it for you. You can do it. If you don't know how to download it, you could ask somebody for help to download it, or go to the Google and find out how you could download from Facebook. Anyway, so we are going to spend 16. What was it? 16 days. 16 years. 16 years. We are going to spend 16 years sleeping. 16 years sleeping. All right. Then let's keep on going. Another 6,083 days will go to work if you are going to be working 8 hours a day. If you are going to be working 8 hours a day, you are going to spend another 6 days. 6,000 days going to work. Which could mean 146,000 days and 146,000 hours. 146,000 hours. You are going to spend 146 hours, in the average, 146,000 hours going to work. That is if you are working for salary or you are working for somebody. But that is in the average in general. We're just doing general statistics, right? But you decide. I don't know how many hours you are going to work or how many days you are going to work. This all depends on you, how many time you are spending at work. But let me tell you other things that you are still going to use anyway, or how you are going to use your life and why you have to run and be in a hurry. So I already told you how much time you spend sleeping and how much time you spend working. Now, let's follow it through. Like in the morning, you remember in the morning I spoke to you about Sonia says, my hobby has to hear this message. Well, I think everybody has to hear this message. Sonia. Let me tell you something, Sonia. Let me tell you, everybody, something that will really get you sit tight. Every one of us, we spend at least 1 hour a day bathing, washing our teeth, cleaning up, and dressing. Every one of us spend at least 1 hour bathing, cleaning up, dressing. That will equal to 365 hours a year. So you are going to spend 365 hours of those years that were left. So you know how many hours you have left. 365 of them will go to just washing. That's just in 1 year. Now, if multiplied by 50 years, let's say you are starting from 20 and you are going to multiply that by 50 years, let's say you have another 50 years to live. So out of the 50 years you have to live, 760 days, you are going to spend just going to the bathroom and bathing to the bathroom, toilet, and dressing. 760 days. What does that mean when we talk about weeks? It means you are going to spend just washing and doing, empty, non-entity things, on insignificant things. You are going to spend 108 weeks. You are going to spend 108 weeks doing that. Just washing, bathing, toileting. And that equals to 25 months of your life will be spent. This is if you have 50 years more to live. And then 2 years of your life will be spent in the toilet, in the bathroom, in the toilet and bathroom. That's why we have to do things that have eternal value right now. That's why we must begin to live for eternity and put the priority of God, the purpose of God, priority in your life, in whatever you do. And that's why you must chase out all time wasters, all time killers from your life, including your church members, including your church people, including your people, just anybody you want to relate with must be people who are adding value to you, or who are pushing you forward, or who are helping you to attain your goal and your purpose in life. Now, apart from spending 2 full years of your life bathing and dressing, the next thing you will do is that if you spend, and most of us do, if you will spend 1 hour of your day on social media, telephone, and television, that is just 1 hour of your day. Only 1 hour. Most people spend more than 1 hour of their days. That means you are spending 365 hours, which means 50 out of your 50 active years, you are spending 760 days, or 108 weeks, or 25 months, or 2 years just watching television. Just watching television. You are killing yourself. And you remember the thing, you have already been depleted, we are supposed to have, how many years to live? You are supposed to have 25,000 days to live and 613 hours. But because of because you are only, you remove 20 years, that is greatly reduced to 18,000 or something. So, you are still, despite everything we have already lost, we are still losing more. Now, if you are going to spend another 1 hour every day going to church, even not, if it's just 1 hour you spend a day going to church, or 7 hours a week in the average, 7 hours a week you spend going to church, that means another 365 hours a year. Or if you want to take it in 50 years of active life, that means 760 days you are spending in church. And you must be able to know what that church is giving you, what church is giving you, what product, what value is that adding to you. And then 108 weeks, you spend just going to church, and 25 months spent just going to church, and 2 years just going to church, sitting down in church and nothing to show for it. So you have to check what value everything is adding to you, and how to maximize these things in your life. Now, another thing is, if you are going to spend 1 hour in transportation in a day, most of us spend 1 hour in a day in transportation. So that one transportation, you have to reduce it. It equals the same thing. It means that 365 hours, you are going to spend in transportation. And, if you take 50 active years, it's 760 days, 108 weeks, 25 months, and over 2 years just doing that. So what does that mean, friends? That means that we have lost most of our lives in things that are not profitable. And so if we are just going to count how many hours we lose in a year, to all these things like dressing, bathing, telephone, social media, and church, going to transportation and all that, then you would have lost another 1,825 hours just doing those things. And then what you are left with in an hour, let's say in a year, you are only left with 1,095 of your life that is left in 1,000 hours in a year that you are left with to use, for whatever. Some people even waste that. And if we take, your life, let's say you have 50 years left. If 50 active years of your life will give you only 2,000 days to live. You are only living active life, apart from the ones that are wasted, 2,284 days, or 288 weeks is only what you have, 72 months is only what you have to live, or 6 years is only what you have to live. Active life, active life. So that's, all these things telling us why we must take life serious and why we must face and focus on the kingdom calling and purpose for our lives, and why we should not trivialize our lives, why we should not trivialize our days, our hours, our minutes, but we should use everything to the glory of God, intentionally controlling our lives, intentionally controlling our time, intentionally directing our lives to bring profit. So it is scale analysis or scale comparison that we have to do, to make sure that everything in our lives that we function the way God wants us to do.